Hello again, everyone. This is a continuation of Examination 1 notes and information. The main feature of zero tolerance policies against weapons in schools, which definitely has changed over the last 20 years in terms of protocol and making sure there are things in place, safeguards, um, to be more aware and help in situations of violence. That the main feature of zero tolerance, for example, against weapons in school is mandatory punishments um, to try and make sure that there's positive learning environments, and again, identifying potential warning signs for um, anyone in particular families, parental units, or even children with regards to um, uh, potential violence in the schools, especially their peers taking things seriously if they hear conversations or there's things on social media that might be warning signs for this kind of thing. Um, Policies against drug use in schools must clearly describe the violations and their consequences. Um, for legal reasons, but just to make sure that they're clear and concise in terms of um, what the policies are. Um, the theory behind offering drug-free activities in terms of solutions is that the students often turn to drugs because they think there's nothing better to do. Um, so it's important that there are alternatives out there for them, whether it's art or music, obviously athletics and sports, that type of thing. Um, Jumping around again with regards to pathogens, um, taking universal precautions against infections by bloodborne agents means that we treat all bodily fluids as potentially infectious. Um, so it's important that you keep your hands clean and you exercise precautionary measures, especially during the flu season, to make sure that you're preventing as much as possible um, any types of illnesses. When it comes to nutrition, a lot of the schools have changed over the last 10 years, in particular the types of foods that they offer. A lot of school districts have eliminated soda and soda machines and unhealthy snacks. There are still a number that do offer those types of things, but it has changed over the last couple of decades in particular. And before implementing a school site health promotion program, you definitely should identify both components and needs because every area of the country has different things that they require with regards to their populations. The physical environment of a school can increase the possibility of an infection, can decrease the possibility of for injuries. It can decrease stress and decrease the possibility for injuries and stress simultaneously. So, there's just a lot of synergistic things that are happening with regards to that. Colors can impact learning environments, as we know, at a very young age. Colors, are everywhere, especially in elementary school. We don't see it as much in middle school and high school, right? The optimal, so the optimal emotional environment is one that is not formal and business-like, right? It's one that has variety and lots of colors and challenges critical thinking, things like that. There should be no tolerance for ridicule and put-downs between students. bullying has become something that's come to the forefront for the last 15-20 years in particular, and is definitely part of the school system's consciousness now. It's just not something that is chalked up and addressed in passing and discussed in terms of kids being kids and things of that nature. It's a very serious issue and will continue to be, as there are a number of suicides every year that result from what they claim to be bullying. And in particular, social media now has impacted this tremendously. So making sure that those types of things are monitored very closely is critical. And that pretty much wraps up, for the most part, some of the information you'll need for the first examination. It's important that we create safe and healthy environments with positive reinforcement, making sure that there are emergency plans for the school districts, the school buildings, and individual classrooms in terms of plans for these types of situations, whether it's earthquakes, natural disasters, physical safety is very important. Class size impacts this tremendously. Physical condition of school property can definitely influence student violence. Building positive emotional environments one way to do this is to set high expectations for all students, not necessarily punish offenders promptly or keep students busy or flex the rules, right? Setting high expectations is very important. Making sure that children feel safe. Sexual harassment can occur, for example, in young children just as much as it can happen with adults. So taking this very seriously is definitely important. And making sure that the lines of communication with parents is not necessarily during parent-teacher conferences, but all the time that takes place, because that can definitely help make sure everyone's on the same page. So if you have any other questions, please feel free to email me at mikehootner@gmail.com, and best of luck on the first examination.